Trip to Disney. Fantastic. You need to go. If I don't know if you watched the video yet that's on my channel, but I just, pieced together a bunch of like quick blogs or vlog stuff to throw together. But I had a blast. I don't like traveling. I don't know if you guys have heard that on my videos, but I don't like traveling for anything really. And I've wanted to go to Disney forever, and I was like, you know what? I got an opportunity. We're going to go. So the travel actually was fairly easy. Luckily, my wife bailed me out. It was like I just kind of showed up and had fun. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was hoping to run into some wrestlers down there because they're always taking pictures, especially at Epcot, but that's all right. Still had a lot of fun. Welcome, everybody. For anybody just joining, going to wait a few minutes before we start showing off mail day stuff. Supposed to have some guests coming on the show later on. We'll see what happens with that, but most of this stuff is going to be repurposed on the YouTube page. So, Elliot, thanks for checking that out. No worries. You guys can check out all the stuff. It's always on the archives. This is going to be on the archives. There's actually a lot of people I know that aren't on Instagram, so they only catch these Instagram lives on the replay. So Cardona is always seemingly, yeah, I know him, and like I've seen Cody Rhodes post pictures there a few times. Funny too, actually. Some of the cards, I'll just leave it at this. If you guys see the All-Star cards that we're going to go through today, those are from Matt Cardona. Seriously. I know you guys probably heard that story. I bought my 82-83 All-Star set from Cardona inadvertently. I just saw it on eBay a couple of years ago, year and a half, two years ago, something like that. And I pulled the trigger. That was like the biggest purchase I'd made at that point. And then I got them in the mail, and I looked at the return label, and it says Matt Cardona. I'm like, wait a minute. And sure enough, so it's just, it's an extra added thing to the collection. Like the All-Stars cards are cool to begin with, but to know that some of these are signed, and then some of them are signed but yet came from Cardona, it's just like an extra added cool factor. So I don't know that it adds any value, but it's cool to me, and that's like one of the sets that I really don't plan on ever selling. Everybody's got a price. I'll sell them. What's up, Derek? But yeah, eventually I would sell that stuff, but yeah, not anytime soon. In fact, I've actually started. You'll see, I started piecing together some of the collection signed. It's going to be really hard, especially with so many of those deceased, and I'm not going after it like hardcore. I'd still rather have Karrion Kross stuff, which again you're going to see here, but it's just kind of an extra added fun thing. I was like, man, having these All-Stars cards signed adds an extra layer of like rarity to it. So wait a few more minutes. We'll see who joins, and then if nobody's in here, we'll just go ahead and start. Thank you guys for taking the time to join me, whether it's for 5 minutes or whether you're going to sit on this entire broadcast. Any kind of support is greatly appreciated. Just kind of some updates as we go through. Let's see. I can't even remember what I have scheduled. I think I have an ECW 1997 Japanese wrestling card scheduled for this Tuesday. Worlds Collide. You're not going to want to miss the Worlds Collide podcast this week. We've got Adam Gelman, which I'll mention on here in a minute, and we've got James. They came on to talk about player collecting for a roundtable episode. It was 1 hour of some of the best information, especially for if you're interested in the upcoming Panini releases. I've been saying for a while that I think a lot of I don't even know the term I want to use, but there's a lot of collectors out there who don't understand, I'll say wrestling card collectors. They don't understand kind of how Panini works and sports cards and selling and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting, and Adam Gelman is a wealth of information, and me and Tony just kind of gave him and James the floor and put in our input when we did. So again, Wednesday, I think it's 6 a.m. Eastern time is when it drops. It's 5 or 6 a.m. But Worlds Collide podcast, if you're not listening, make sure to check that out. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for coming. And we're just going to show off some mail that I have not gotten to. I am way, way, way behind. Just buying so much cards. I'm selling collections that I bought, not the stuff, the stuff I bought I didn't buy to sell. But I've just been selling so many pieces and low-end cards that my actual PC stuff has kind of gotten neglected. So I was like, I'll just do an Instagram live. get some people on here hopefully, and we'll talk about what we got. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get started. Cage, what's up? So, if you haven't already, check out Wrestling with Cards on YouTube and please subscribe. However, we're starting off with a Rick Martell All-Stars autograph card. This was sent in to one of the signings he was doing. I actually like to take advantage of the mail-in signings that a lot of these older wrestlers do. So this is on the outside. Luckily, they knew not to put that on the actual card, so that's fun. But again, all of the All-Star cards, like I think I have another 1 or 2 in here. And the All-Star cards that I'm showing today actually came from Matt Cardona's collection, which is just kind of a cool bonus. This stack came from someone in the mail, and forgive me, I do not remember who it was from. A bunch of base stuff, but 99 Rock and Roman dual card. These fantasy matchup cards I just really love for some reason. And you gotta love the chrome stuff. We got some chrome base Roman Rock again. That was the end of that set. These 5 Timers Clubs cards, people just absolutely love them. And out of 50 is the gold for the Topps WWE. I know a lot of people in sports, Prism, the gold's out of 10. But with Topps, it's out of 50. And if there was ever one that I was going to pick up, it was going to be this one. Because when I see gold and flashy, I think of Ric Flair. So out of 50, 5 Timers Club gold. What's up, Rob? Sour Patch James, what's up? All right, we're knocking out Karrion Kross 1-of-1s, adding to the Super Collection here. Usually when I see these 1-of-1s pop up, I try to pounce on them as quick as possible, depending on the price. Sometimes these people are pricing these just way, way out of line, and they're not willing to budge on them for whatever reason. I guess they just don't get it that he's not on the roster anymore, even though I'm just a huge fan of him as a wrestler in general. So 1-of-1, this is I think it's called a Platinum Parallel. This is from the 2021 NXT base set, so just the 1-of-1 parallel. And another 1-of-1 with Keith Lee. 2 guys released from WWE on the same card. Platinum Parallel 1-of-1, adding to the Super Collection. It's always nicer to add these 1-of-1s and then work backwards, clearly. So, alright, moving on. We've got some slabs, and it's Christmas time. We needed some Christmas cards. Yeah. The greatest Christmas movie of all time. I don't care what anyone else says. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Clark Griswold, the old school Topps design, signed. Somebody with an out of 25 5-timers Triple H for cheap. Thank you. I'm really not buying much Triple H stuff. I'd like to get a couple of the Transcendent autos or some of the higher end autos, but I don't really PC him. Real nice Clark. Yeah, it's Clark Griswold card. And there's a sticker on the back. Basically under the card, it says that it was because it's a custom card. It's, so it's one of those things where a lot of people are like, I don't like customs, but I think customs are awesome if you've got an attachment to it, like I do with Christmas. Christmas is far my favorite time of the year, and to get a Clark W. Griswold auto, specially designed with this old school Topps design, authenticated, relatively affordable. I had to have it when I saw it, so it's it's one of those random non-wrestling things that I've got. I've got some names written down for the people that I did remember. So there's a few people that I got stuff from, and I apologize, I cannot remember who sent me what. But there are a few things that I do have names written down for the people that did send me stuff. So we're going to start with Evan Bovey. There's his username. Customs are awesome. Yeah, sometimes I think a lot of people don't like customs because they think that they can't resell them. And, clearly somebody resold this to me and I am in the market for it. And there was other ones sold that I saw. So, yeah, doing well. Yes, I have cards. Yeah, thank you for asking. Doing well. Just busy trying to get caught up here with this mail. So that's why I decided to do a live. Thank you guys for coming so far. Again, going back to Evan, make sure you follow him. He is on Twitter and Instagram, and we picked up a stack of Hogan autos from him. Now, as you will see, thanks guys for coming in. Okay, so these are authenticated. Trading card authenticated auto. It's only the autograph that's authenticated. I've talked about this on my videos where a lot of people will do this, and instead of the authentic, they'll get the autograph graded. So the number will show up here. They will try to, pose that as, okay, so let's say the autograph gets an 8. they will say, okay, well, this is a PSA 8 Hogan autograph. Well, actually, it's not, because the autograph, it would say the actual card, so it would say ringside relics and then whatever the year of this is. I don't even remember. 2006. So right here it would say 2006 ringside relic, blah, 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 Hogan autograph authenticated. So just be careful of that when you're out there buying. I don't mind buying authenticated autos because autographs are going to sell regardless. I mean, you could put a Hogan auto on a piece of paper and it's going to sell. So that's why, as long as it's a PSA authenticated, make sure you kind of do your homework. This is a little PSA label down here. It's really hard to see. But just do your homework on the slabs and make sure they're legitimate. Do your homework on that before you're buying. There's some fake slabs out there, so be careful. But anyway, let's get on to this card. Hogan ringside relic. So this card is awesome because it has an event-worn Hulk Hogan t-shirt, as you can see. So when you're buying these artifact, relic, whatever you want to call them, be careful on these. Card contains a piece of actual event-worn shirt. Okay, so it doesn't say the event, and it could just be like a player-worn thing. So he could have had like 50 shirts and put them all on at once and then took them off and sold them to Topps. That's okay with me. Like, he still wore it. And what they're considering an event, I don't know. But it's still cool to have that piece of relic there. And another fun fact, ringside relics. If you go back to the 1999 Chrome WCW set that Topps put out, the ringside relic Hulk Hogan card was actually the first ever relic wrestling card in existence. So this, for me, is just kind of a fun throwback. I will probably be hanging on to this. Again, you can't beat Hogan autos, especially if you get a really good deal on them. Moving on, we've got another one similar to that, just a different design. Again, just authentic auto trading card. Let's see, this one is from 2005, so this was 05, the one I just showed you was 2006. So, again, as long as something is authenticated in a slab, especially by PSA, it's a good buy in my opinion. Another one, this one, I don't know what happened here. This is kind of interesting, and I think it's cool. He kind of signed here, and I don't know if he didn't see the relic or whatever, but it's autographed partially on the relic and then on the card, but I mean, come on, it's Hogan in a boa. You can't beat it. This is one of those thicker cards, too. I don't know that you can really tell, but it's one of the thicker PSA slabs. So just, something different. And then this was kind of a surprise. I didn't realize how cool this was going to look. I think it's maybe the placement of the auto on the card and just the basic pose and basic design. One of the TNA Impact cards that Hogan had. Let's see what the year is on this. I don't even remember. 2009, 2010. Have I ever broke any WWF SmackDown cards from 99 and 2000? No, I don't usually do it. I like doing breaks for you guys. Like, if people buy into breaks, like what we've done on the Worlds Collide podcast. We've done it on Tony's channel a couple of times, and we've done it on the Virtual Con, the Wrestling Card Virtual Con. We do breaks, and if you guys want to do more breaks, I'm happy to do them, but I personally don't break hardly anything. I just buy singles and graded cards, really, or sealed wax. I'll buy sealed wax just to hang on to it. But anyway, rounding out this Hogan card, I just thought yeah, Joe, say nice crisp auto, absolutely. Especially the placement, like, comparing the two placements. I know this is kind of a random thing, but this is come on, it's a Hogan auto, you can't go wrong, but the placement on this one just isn't as good as this one. So you've taken a basic TNA Impact wrestling card, doctored it up with this Hogan auto in a sweet spot. I love it. So if you guys have any questions as I'm going through the mail, just drop them in here. Also, if you can see on the screen right here, go check this video out. This is my Christmas giveaway. 6 days left to enter that if you have not already. Check out that video. I tell you everything I'm giving away and what you need to do. It's a 2-step process. Very, very easy. You don't need to do anything else besides watch that video, and I'll just tell you right now, subscribe and leave a comment on that, and then you can check out everything I'm giving away. The winner will be announced. I'm going to turn the camera back around for a minute. Winner of that contest will be announced on Christmas Day. I have a third-party judge that has nothing to do with anything that's going to be picking a winner based on the comments. So just give honest opinions on there. Again, watch the video. You'll see what you need to comment on, but a third-party person picking the winner will have one winner, free giveaway. So, yeah. Again, any questions, drop them in the chat. And we're going back to the mail because I'm telling you, we've got a stack of it. And we're supposed to have a guest in about 15 minutes. We'll see if that happens. So, Collecting with Caleb. I'm sure you guys know Caleb. Make sure to go check out his YouTube page. He has a new YouTube page, Collecting with Caleb. You can just search it. And he is doing some phenomenal work with indie cards and indie card releases. So, I've said it before that we need more wrestling card content in the hobby, I believe. And Caleb is kind of taking my advice, and he's starting something new, something different, something no one else is really doing, even though we know a lot of people are fans of indie cards. So, all of these cards are coming from Collecting with Caleb to an extent. I will explain. Here's a random Dwayne Johnson card. This is from the Pop Cards. I'm sure you guys have seen on social media a lot of celebrity cards popping up in this set, and like the, let's see, is this Panini? Is this Panini product? It's just Pop Cards. I know Panini is doing stuff like this, but you can see it just basically gives facts, random stuff. So, you guys know you can't go wrong with rock cards. This one specifically is the gold parallel. Now, it's not a gold chrome, just a regular gold parallel, but I bought this off Caleb for, I think it was like 20 bucks. I thought it was a pretty good deal. Yeah, skinny rock with hair, too. This was purchased off of the Wrestling Card Virtual Con. Guys, if you're interested in any of that, you can go back and check it out on my channel in the archives. Also on the WrestlingTradingCards.com YouTube page as well. We did the whole Wrestling Virtual Con, first ever wrestling card show. It's all still up there in the archives, and if you get a hold of some of those people, they may still have some of that stuff for sale. But anyway, I thought this was kind of a good buy. Anything rock is really good. So, moving on. Okay, so this is the stack where Caleb didn't actually sell me these cards. He went and had them signed for me because he was going to a show, and I was like, hey, can you get these signed for me? And he's like, yeah, sure, because he's a great guy. So, you guys may have seen some of this stuff posted as well. Brutus Magnus, a.k.a. Nick Aldis. This is considered one of his first cards, I believe, so many will call this the rookie card. Signed as Nick Aldis, amazing signature there. I think this was signed at WrestleCade, and I just think that Nick Aldis as a talent is kind of underrated from a stance of he's an NWA champion. He's trying to carry the legacy of the NWA, and I know a lot of people could care less about wrestling history, but in my opinion, the NWA is legacy. People, want to say that it's an indie now or whatever, which, whatever. But I just had this card in the box, and I got an opportunity to have it signed, and I was going to jump all over it. So there we go. Sergeant Slaughter All-Stars Auto from the same show. He has a sweet auto. Yep, yeah, he does. That's one of the best autos I actually have here. As we go through the autos, you'll see. Once again, this is from the collection that I purchased from Matt Cardona. I've got the complete 82-83 set, and I've got some extras. I'm trying to get a lot of these signed when I can. I probably am not going after them as hardcore as some of the other guys you've seen in the wrestling card space within the hobby. But, Sergeant Slaughter, this just is nostalgia to me. I loved Sergeant Slaughter in the AWA. I know most people know him from his time in WWF, but AWA was it for me. And that, I think it was right around that time in the 80s too. Like, I think after the NWA, I watched him in like reruns and stuff, but he was also in G.I. Joe. So I was like, oh man, there's a guy in wrestling and on G.I. Joe. Two shows I'm watching. So when I look at this, it just sends me back to having the G.I. Joe figure. And, just piece of nostalgia. That's what wrestling is all about. Sports Cartel, what's up? Speaking of nostalgia, Paul Ellering, Precious Paul Ellering on a Monty gun. And I needed to get this because out of the trifecta, this was the last auto I didn't have. I've got a Hawk auto, I've got an Animal auto, but I did not have a Paul Ellering, so... All right, moving on. Sting. Who doesn't like Sting? And thank you for the compliment, Brian Reynolds, on the Slaughter card. You met Slaughter in an airport. Okay, that's awesome. So disregard this stuff. These are just in the semi-rigids. But we've got the Sting. These are kind of the trifecta of the rookie cards. This one with the purple is my favorite, just because like the purple tights. That's my favorite color besides black. So. But this is a trifecta of Sting rookie cards that Caleb was able to get signed for me. He was going to get Sting to sign some stuff anyway, and I was like, hey, buy me some tickets. So by many, these are considered the Sting rookie card if you are into rookie cards. I had the opportunity, I had these, and I was like, hey, if I get these signed, I really don't need any other Sting cards. Like, this is like the epitome of Sting cards, in my opinion. So the other thing, if you really want to chase these, look for the test copies. These are all just the base copies. The test copies are like brown cardboard looking on the back. These are more of the white, like a standard card. So very happy to have those. Wrestling with Andy, what's up? Thanks for joining. Going into some Ric Flair stuff now. This is one of my favorite Ric Flair cards ever. There's some other ones, which I know we're going to get to one next that a lot of people like, that I actually just posted a picture about. But there's something about this that just screams like, this is pro wrestling. It's 80s with, you know, Ric Flair and the hair and the suit and the Four Horsemen with the Rolex. You know the drill. However, the border is very 90s, so it's a nice blend of the 80s and 90s together, and this is just pro wrestling personified right here. I know a lot of people like have a love-hate relationship, I guess, with the Impel set, but I absolutely love it. So one of my favorite Ric Flair cards. Now this one, I'm sure, is everyone else's favorite Ric Flair card, the 82 All-Stars. Again, from the Matt Cardona collection. Yeah, I don't need, like I said, I just posted a picture of this before I got on here, just because I have a backlog of pictures and try to post something every day, at least one card. But, you know, nothing else really needs to be said about this. It's just fantastic. More Ric Flair. This one's a little bit more obscure. The Garbage Pail Kids WWE mashup. If you guys have ever seen these, you should probably jump on them. I don't know, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you jump on it because it's a good investment. I want to say that they're interesting because you just don't ever see them, number one, but when you do, they just pop up kind of sporadically. And it's a great mashup between two franchises that everybody knows of the 80s, Garbage Pail Kids and WWE, two 80s franchises that are still going to this day. So to get a Slick Rick autographed, absolutely love it. This whole set, when you could find them, I think they were like $35 or something like that to buy the whole set when it came out. Initially, I think there was a print run of like 1,048 is what I want to say. Don't hold me to that, but it was just over 1,000, I believe. It was kind of a print-to-order set, and like the Topps Living set. You know, you order they open it up for so long, however many orders they have, that's the print run. So that's what they did on this entire set. But there's also, I think Becky's in this, Seth Rollins is in this, The Rock, Stone Cold, Ultimate Warrior. Matthew, what's up? Tried to catch a little bit of your Whatnot sale, which I'm just going to go ahead and plug you since you're here. At Womack Creative, go check out Wrestling Rev on Whatnot. You want to talk about some awesome sales, some awesome giveaways. I'm plugging this now because I got 1 or 2 cross cards from Matthew, and I don't remember which one they are, to be honest. So I wanted to at least give you a shout out. I was going to give you a shout out anyway, but since you're in the chat here, thanks for the help on getting the cross cards. Now, back to Ric Flair. More Ric Flair. The NWA header cards. I don't know that these are really valuable. Maybe they're going to be in the future. Who knows? But this is just, out of all the autographs I got, he mostly signed blue. This one he switched up to purple. I actually kind of like it. Just old school 80s pro wrestling shot here. You just can't have too much Flair. So I don't remember seeing a lot of these placemats, backpacks. I think I saw party invitations and lunch boxes and notebooks maybe. Stickers, I'm not sure, but you got to love the NWA. You know, I said earlier with the Nick Aldis card, like carrying on the tradition of the NWA. The other thing that's interesting is like I was very, very young when stuff was going on. I was like 5 years old. So I love 80s wrestling, but it's not like I grew up knowing a lot about it. But I love wrestling history as opposed to, I guess, modern product. Like there's just something interesting and magical about the way wrestling used to be, like, you know, mid 1980s and backwards. And to me, this card just kind of screams that. So I was happy to get that one. This truly is a 1 of 1, even though it's not labeled as a 1 of 1. So Ric Flair, Terry Funk, dual auto. Now, I got this signed. As you can see, Terry Funk put the Double Cross Ranch brand on Ric Flair, which is absolutely amazing. But I got this signed from Terry Funk quite a while ago, and then somehow was able to get Ric Flair to sign it as well. So dual auto of two legends. Probably will never see another card like this again with these two signing on that. So I'm not sure if you guys remember. I think it was like 88 or 89, the feud between these two. And he was pile driving Ric Flair on the table right there. It was just fantastic memory. Again, nostalgia and such a unique piece here. You can tell Funk's auto is not what it used to be, but the fact that I have this is just amazing. So one more Ric Flair card from the Caleb stack. Who's ready for some hot chocolate? You guys like Polar Express? It's Christmas time. You should be drinking hot chocolate. Ric Flair says drink your hot chocolate. This is from the, oh my gosh, Carnation Hot Cocoa Mix. To think that they were throwing these wrestling cards into packages of hot chocolate. This is just tape residue, but as you can see, it's got some stains on it. So I figured that would be a really good candidate to get signed. The blue looks really nice. Again, the NWA champion. I love the legacy of NWA. And once again, hot chocolate, that's Christmas to me. This card is tying Christmas, nostalgia, wrestling, all back to me. And at the end of the day, that's what cards are all about. All about nostalgia and things that, you know, tie you to certain moments in your life or, you know, modern things that you're into. Moving on to some other stuff. Shout out to hot chocolate with some Bailey's Irish Cream. I actually just do regular hot chocolate with milk and marshmallows, and that's it. Sometimes I'll get like sugar-free stuff because I try not to eat very much sugar, and I will put some stevia in there and the marshmallows. That'll be the sugar part of it, but I don't ever usually add too much else into hot chocolate, but, you know, good suggestion. All right, Joypad Lad. Been talking to this guy forever. He's on Twitter at Joypad Lad Shop. Instagram, Joypad Lad. If you're watching, thank you for all the extra stuff you sent me. I only got one card today. He's always sending me something, and I greatly appreciate it for all of that stuff. Make sure you check out his shop if you like vintage video games and random toys, and he's doing like he is always coming up with some kind of innovative thing to sell for collectors. So he came out with his own wrestling card set. This is the foil hollow Taker, Hogan with Taker. There is a Taker too, I have that. But he designed this after the old school Pacific sports cards. And I don't know if he still has any of these. I know the foil ones are more rare, but pretty good quality cards for just, you know, custom made. Definitely check out his shop and see if he's got any more of these cards available. They come in packs, and you can buy the complete sets and boxes. Next shout out is on Twitter. He's probably not on here, but Dad Stuff 11. I've worked out several deals with him before, buying and selling and trading. And I got from him the Scarlet Gold Auto out of this year's Chrome. And I'm not a Scarlet collector per se, but you guys know I'm a Cross Super collector. And as you will see later on, I had the Gold Auto out of this same set for Cross. And I was like, I saw him post this, that he had it available. And I was like, you know what? I really need that Scarlet to go with the Cross. So it'll kind of look cool paired up together, I think. And I know a lot of people keep giving me crap because Scarlet and Karrion Kross, neither one are, you know, they're just kind of working indies right now. And I don't think people understand that that's kind of how wrestling is going. Like, people are becoming more and more disgusted with the WWE, moving towards indies, and people can make a great living and put out some, hopefully, other independent trading cards featuring these two. So that'd be great. Did I get the High Spots one? No. Wait, the High Spots Scarlet? If so, no. If you're asking about a High Spots Karrion Kross card, I did not see that. Speaking of indie cards, shout out to the Space Cowboy, Jason Jones from Mid-States Wrestling. This is my favorite local promotion, and I'll talk a little bit about these cards. He had these designed just for himself. We've got 3 different ones here. And the interesting thing is they were slightly bigger than a standard card. As you can see, there's not much room here in the top loader. So I actually couldn't penny sleeve these. I just had to go straight into the top loader with them. But the interesting thing is 87 tops, right? WCW design on the back, the Impel. Like, that's just... He put a lot of effort into designing these. You can see it's got the stats on the back. And he runs a great promotion. Mid-States Wrestling is fantastic. It's If you guys are in the Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, I'm not sure how much further they go, if they do some shows in Tennessee or Texas, but he runs a great promotion based out of Harrison, Arkansas, I believe. So, all right, let's get on to some other stuff. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the show notes. Anybody want to guest on the show? If you want to come on and chat about something, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, or you can just come on here in a little bit when I get through all the mail. So let's get into some cross stuff, because you know that I was going to bring that. This is the 2021 Superstars, that UK set that I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen pictures of, but maybe you haven't seen the cards. This is the base card for Karrion Kross, and there's no parallels in this. They do parallels, but there was no parallels for this card, which was kind of disappointing, but as a super collector, you've got to have everything. So happy to add that one to the collection. Shout out to Adam Gelman. I'm sure you guys know him on Instagram, WWE Gelman, on Twitter, SCU Uncensored. Talk about one of the bright minds in wrestling cards as far as markets go and the shift of what's popular and demand. And you guys are not going to want to miss the Worlds Collide podcast coming out this coming Wednesday. We had Adam and we had James, Baby Boo Breaks on, and we talk about player collecting, super collecting. We talk about how Panini's taking over is going to basically rock the wrestling world for several different reasons, maybe both good and bad. You are not going to want to miss that episode. So again, shout out Adam Gelman for these. We've got the Heritage base. Let me tell you what, this design is just fantastic. I absolutely love it. And then we've got the foil, which is, like a refractor type thing. I think this design is fantastic, and I'm starting to build the rainbow for this as well, because that's what super collectors do. So, Adam hooked me up with those for a reasonable price. More cross stuff. These are the Slam Attacks Gold. This is gold, or yellow, I think is what it's actually called. Top Slam Attacks from the UK Chrome release. As you can see, this one is numbered to 99, which is weird that they would do a yellow or a gold numbered to 99. Like, most of the time it's 50, or if it's a Panini product, it's 10. But for some reason, they decided to do 99 with gold. So, I'm not sure what's up with that, but hey, you got to have them all when you're a super collector. Speaking of that, Wrestling Rectangles right here on Instagram. Make sure you check him out. He hooked me up with this next cross card. The same set, however green. He had pulled one of these. I had not seen any available on eBay or anywhere else. This is numbered to 50. So it's almost like they flipped. Usually the 99s are green or teal, and the golds are 50. But for whatever reason, they decided to switch it with this one. So whatever. Same set. We've got the Sparkle, and I think this is, if you want to put this in perspective, I think this is similar to as far as parallels go, this is kind of like the X-Fractors, because there's a base of this, I believe there's a refractor, and then there's this one. This is the Sparkle parallel. I really like it. Foil, it's got kind of the foil, some Topps products in the past have been called foil board that were similar to this. So, not numbered, just the cool parallel. More Karrion Kross. So, this is where it gets interesting. This is the Wrestling Revolver Tales from the Ring card that came out recently in an indie card set, which you guys know the indie cards are blowing up. So the thing with this is it's supposed to be numbered to 25, so the listing says, one of 4 rare cards. The problem that I have with a lot of these indie sets is they're not numbering anything. They can say, oh, there's only a print run of 50, hypothetically, but we know there's some put back. All of a sudden, high spots start showing up with some to sell. That's one thing that I've got that I'm just not a fan of with some of the indie cards. But that aside, again, we talk about that in some future podcast episodes that me and Tony did, and some of my videos on my YouTube channel, which you should go check out and subscribe if you have not already. Again, check out the Christmas giveaway video. Only 6 days left to enter that. Anyway, back to this card. So, had to have it. I don't care really how rare this is because, again, I'm a super collector, so I had to pick it up. More cross. This is the out of 25 red base parallel, given the business to Dominik Dijakovic. I got these from someone on Twitter. They came in a pair. I'm not sure. Forgive me, I don't remember who I got these from, but $250. This is, I guess you could say, the first pack pullable Scarlet Auto. and the first pack pullable carrying cross autos out of 25 red. Look at that signature, just amazing. I think he kind of dropped the ball a little bit with the signature on the Heritage set. I'm still going to collect them, but up until then, like, his signatures were, knocking out of the park. We'll see what he does if he, shows up on some other indie cards or something. So, here we have an Undisputed in a mag rookie card. Basic, right? You guys have probably seen me show this off before. However, 1 of 1 blank back from the Topps vault. I got this for just a ridiculous cheap price. I actually forgot about it. I put in an initial bid, and I was ready to bid a whole lot more. Nobody bid on it but me. That's fine. I'm going to be the number 1 carrying cross, killer cross, super collector in the world. Something cool that with this came from Topps, the official Topps eBay account. That's where I got it. So let me show you. This actually came with it too, so you get a certificate, basically just of authenticity that, hey, this is what it is. I don't know a lot about these Topps blank backs. Like, it says 1 of 1, and it's got a serial number, so I don't know if the serial number is just a representation here, or if there are other blank back 1 of 1 carrying cross cards. I don't know. If you guys know, please leave a comment below, or if you have any information, please share it any more on the blank backs. But pretty happy to have this one, something that I knew I had to pounce on because I probably was never going to see one again. And I know there's not a huge market for carrying cross, killer cross right now, but that's why we collect. Speaking of that, we're going to get into more of his stuff. So first, I think I've posted pictures of some of these things, but this is the first time maybe showing it off. All right. This is the 2021 Chrome set with autographs. Again, look at the signature. Just ridiculous. We've got the out of 199. Got the out of 99. Matthew, if you're still here, I'm not sure if you sent me this one or if you sent me the base 99, but I do remember I think it was one of the greens, so I want to thank you again for sending that in. And if one of you guys are watching this and sent in something and I did not give you a shout out, I apologize, but I appreciate you helping me out. Here's the gold. I said that I had the scarlet to go with it earlier, so here's the gold, the orange, the black. So we're missing the red, which I've never seen surface. We're missing the red and the superfractor. The superfractor is on eBay, and I've contacted the seller, and he's not really wanting to budge off the price. I think the price is way too expensive right now, but hopefully I can get that eventually. So if you guys see a red out there, or if you can make contact with the guy that has the superfractor, let me know. Almost done with the rainbow on that. Speaking of rainbows, first time talking about this. I'm going to put a couple of these to the side. Reckless Cards. Great account for the hobby, especially if you like sports cards, but he dabbles some wrestling, breaking, great videos. He sent me these base cards and some refractors right when this set came out. He didn't even ask for anything, he just sent it to me. So, again, check out the Reckless Cards account. Just some base and some refractors. Now we're getting into the good stuff. We've got the teal out of 150, green out of 99. Gold out of 50, 25 orange, 10 black, red out of 5, and I want to say a huge shout out to Chris Boomerang Arrows right here on Instagram, giving me the ultimate hookup, 1 of 1 superfractor. This I actually needed the black to finish out the rainbow. Usually you got to get that superfractor to finish the rainbow. That's how most people end up doing it. But I ran across this. This is what I'm talking about when building relationships within the hobby. I checked him out, and I was like, I noticed the same name was on eBay with this card. So I messaged him, and I'm like, hey, are you selling this? And he said, yeah. And we were able, he didn't have a best offer up, but we were able to work out a deal with an offer where I could purchase this from him, and just, beyond excited to have another 1 of 1. So we're stacking up, carrying cross, killer cross, 1 of 1s. We're going to keep it going, trying to be, like I said, the number 1 killer cross, carrying cross, super collector in the world. Now, there's a lot of 1 of 1s I missed out on, so I don't know if I'll ever get those, but, it's always on the hunts. That's why I like player collecting and super collecting. It always gives you something to keep going after. Talk about awesome signature. Here we go again. This is some of the Transcendent stuff. Out of 10, purple. Out of green, 15. Have you guys seen these cards? Do you have them? They are like super thick, heavy cards. I am a huge fan of these. And then we've got the out of 25. This is, I guess, considered the base. I missed out on one of this, so I don't know if I will ever be able to complete the rainbow on that. I still need the out of 5 too. I know there's some on eBay right now, but if you guys see any of there on there, let me know. All right, some more cross stuff. Bryce Naramore. This if you guys appreciate the content someone's putting out, or if you like work a trade with them and you see them on social media doing good things, send them a note like this. This is just a fun thing that Bryce Naramore right here on Instagram sent me, and I'll show you what I bought from him in 1 second. But he just included this nice note. It's nice to know when people appreciate what we do for content creation. So this is what he sold me. He happened to have one of these Kevin Cross Panini stickers from AAA. I used to see them quite a while ago when I first started collecting Killer Cross stuff, and I didn't pull the trigger on it. I don't know why, and I waited and just never found them again. And they didn't pop up until recently. I'll get into that in a minute. But he's like, hey, I have one of these, and we worked out a very fair price. There's the back of it, AAA, Panini. I don't know. I know with the Panini taking over WWE, I don't know really if this is going to carry any more weight with the name on it, but I frankly don't care. Look at that image. He's just out to kill people. That's why I love his gimmick. He was nice enough to send me some bonus cards, though. We've got one of the Topps Living. We've got a rookie base. And yes, that's right. That's out of 25. He just sent me a black out of 25. If I get duplicates like these of the cross stuff, I've just been kind of hoarding them now. If there's anybody out there watching this that is also collecting Killer Cross, Karrion Kross, if you're interested, I've got some stuff I would be happy to trade you or sell you for, very little amount. So if you're watching this and you are going to start collecting him, let me know. I would be willing to part with some of my extras. We'll round out the Killer Cross stuff. I told you that, I didn't see any of the stickers, couldn't find them. Well, the next thing I know, one guy's got both of these. They're both signed, slabbed. I had to pick them up. These are the only 2 stickers he had. He's looking to kill people in both of these. Like I said, gotta love it. Gotta love the gimmick. Great signature there. I knew if I did not pick and I think there's still maybe one on eBay right now. Not sure. But I knew if I didn't pick these up, I would probably never see them again. So, very happy to have those. And lastly, we're done with cross stuff, but maybe save the best for last. Hulk Hogan, 1985, WWF, number 1. PSA 8. So, this is interesting. I'm sure you guys maybe saw some of our breaks that we did with Starstock. If not, maybe you can go back and check out the Starstock YouTube page. We were able to do some Wrestling Chrome breaks with them, and I was, happy to have the opportunity. And I had some money sitting in my Starstock account. Somebody had this on their, I think I ended up paying like slightly under $400 for it, which was a little less than the going rate of what these go for. And I was like, okay, here's the thing. This, in my opinion, is going to be the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan of wrestling cards. There's a lot of them out there, but the higher grade you get, the better. It's the first Hogan pack pullable card for an actual brand, Topps. It's a first WWF product. All of those things tied together I was like, you know what, if I don't get one of these cards at a somewhat affordable price, it's just going to be gone out of my price range before too long. So I just, I sold. I had some sports cards I didn't care about. I had some wrestling sales from Starstock. I had a bunch of sealed wax on Starstock. I liquidated all of that, dumped all of that money into this because, in my opinion, long term, this will do better. And this is more fun. I'd rather have this awesome-looking Hulk Hogan card that screams nostalgia. Every time I look at it, it just reminds me of 80s wrestling, kind of like those Ric Flair cards that I was talking about. And that does a lot more for me than a box of some random sports stuff that, people probably won't appreciate within a couple of years. So that's the end of the mail. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. I could probably run this for a little bit longer. If anybody wants to come on and join me, just request and I can let you in. caffeinated beverage today. I'm always saying there's links in the show notes if you want to buy me a coffee. I don't have coffee today. I've got this like energy drink powder sugar-free thing. So I hope you guys watching all have a Merry Christmas, and hopefully you get everything you want. Dungeon of Death. Enjoy watching your in-ring stuff, by the way, that you've been doing. How do you like using one-touches? I don't have anything graded or slabbed, but I've getting cards and throwing them one-touches. Here's the deal on one-touches. If you don't care about grading and you don't care about the grade, and you just want something to protect the card, one-touches are just as awesome. We've got a request. Hang on. Back to talking about the one-touches. I think they're as good as slabs. If you just don't care about grading, you want something to protect, like I said, just I would throw them in there and do. Now, like my carrying cross stuff, I'm not getting graded. So I'm putting some of it in binders, but like the one touch that I got that 1 of 1 in, I'm not taking it out. I'll leave it in there. So sports card cartel, what's up?
How's it going, man?
Doing great. What's your name? I don't even know.
My name's Eitan.
Welcome.
And you are Zhan.
Zhan, yeah.
Zhan.
Yeah.
Zhan, it's funny because, we finally get to the nitty-gritty of names. I've been following you for a while. I love the content. I love the stuff that you showcase. And by the way, quick word on carrying cross. Because I love your passion for, like, anytime I see someone PCing and collecting as passionately like that, it's amazing to see. I was a huge fan. I'm still a huge fan of his. I think it's going to become a little bit more difficult to follow his career pathway than it was, a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. But there's a guy who got an incredibly raw deal. I saw him live during the Eddie Edwards program.
Oh yeah,
in Impact, and there was the match. There was a series of matches where he'd come out in the makeup, the kind of like the white makeup. Yep. This is the thing, right? Like a lot of people, I'm big into the technical side of wrestling. I'd say like going far back, my favorites tend to be the more technical guys, the Misawas. Right now, yep. I love Pete Dunne. I love Tomohiro Ishii. But the thing about Cross is he's pro wrestling. Like that match with Finn Balor, the entrance, the whole thing. It was like Frank Frazetta. Sword and sorcery. I'm sure you that hit you right away. Like people discriminating eye that hit them. And the second they took Scarlett away, I'm like, this is not going to end well, because they had a vision that starts from the entrance to the ring to the way he's moving. Anyway, I mean, I'm sure this is stuff that's just kind of solidifying what you already know, but it's just mind-boggling, man. They had Dijakovic, Keith Lee, Cross in such prime positions. This is a company that runs on beef by the square inch, and they didn't know what to do with them. I mean, you could throw Braun Strowman into that. I just don't get it.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I think they destroyed him when he came out with that stupid gear, that helmet, and I was like, I got to hold on for dear life with these cards, but this is it.
Do you think what it is that anytime there's a talent that has such a firm grip on what they want to present and how they want to present it, I feel like they almost get punished for it.
Yeah.
Like if they have too crystal clear of a view of what they want to do versus what creative wants to do, they get punished for it,
Yep. But unless it's like the tippy top guys, like the thing last night with Brock and Roman, like that feud I think is one of the best things going in wrestling. But it's like that's it. Everything below, and there's some women's stuff that's decent, but everything below that just sucks.
Yeah, it's such short-sighted thinking, because you're right. The whole Roman Reigns storyline's been great, but it's short-sighted to just focus on that. I wanted to show you some cool stuff here, since you just graced us with a bunch of cool stuff, and also get a little bit of feedback from you.
Let's do it.
The first thing, I'll start from less, rare to. So we know the Monty Gum set. You did a whole feature on it. It's quite a set of cards.
It's amazing.
A lot of weird stuff going on. Here's the pack that it came out of.
Yep.
I think this is a Turkish variation. And the interesting thing is they were never sealed. So when you get them, they would just be like an open pouch straight out of the box. Did you know that?
Did you buy a box and break it?
I've gone through several, like I flipped through several boxes and I've bought several individual packs. There's no glue. And I've gotten Hogan's out of them. But the strips, the unperforated strips, came in non-sealed packs. And this is also a cool Hulk Hogan image, just in general.
Yeah, I agree.
Then, of course, now the one set you may have touched on that I haven't heard you touch on is the Superstars of Wrestling.
Oh, I love the market scene. Yeah, that's my favorite. Well, I'll just let you talk and then I'll comment.
Well, I don't have too much to say other than this is the one solitary pack that I ever owned and opened. I think my best hit was the Slickster, Dr. Style.
Yeah.
With the most unforgettable intro music. But I'm just looking at this and, wow, you had to send $12.50 for the album. But my understanding is, so this was around 85, 86?
89, 88, 89.
Okay, so a little bit later. Were there any major rookies?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. There's 3 cards that I know people really chase out of that. There's a Rockers card and an Ultimate Warrior in there. And the reason why people want them is because they're from 89 and everybody else is picking up that 1990 classic. And people are saying that's the rookie card. And I'm like, you can call it whatever you want. I hate the rookie card discussion. But the fact is there's classic cards with 1989 on them. And there's these market scene cards that you just showed off. And those are from 1989. So the Rockers, Ultimate Warrior, and then the other one that maybe it's a personal bias, but I know a lot of people that love it, is the Hulk Hogan card in there as, it says Rip 'em from No Holds Barred.
Oh, Rip.
Yeah.
From No Holds Barred.
It's from the movie, but it's actually Hulk Hogan. It's not labeled as Rip, but he's got the shirt. And I'm just like, this is everything. Like I had to get one, so.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I love that set. Like the imagery on it's just great.
So now the Special K cards, I know people know about them, but what they don't often see is the full card with the scratch, right?
Yep.
And I love these. I want to get more of them. Probably my best one's the Junkyard Dog. I've got Tito Santana. I've got one of this guy right here, Billy Jack Haynes, man.
I love Billy Jack.
A bit of a tragic story in wrestling, but
yeah,
I loved him too. And it's just you don't often see that. You often see them with this perforated part removed because I guess that's what people were scratching to get some sort of promo. 2 ways to play, collect to win, and instant win. So
so they would just put out like lottery tickets essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And and these are 1987
maybe. 87, 88, I'm guessing. I don't remember the exact year.
You are correct. 1987, yeah. So, and is there a Hogan in that set? I would imagine there would have to be.
Yeah, it's a pretty good image too. Like basically the who's who of wrestling of that time is in that set. I have a complete set. I could probably talk to you afterwards if you're interested in it or something. But are you trying to put together the set, or are you just picking and choosing?
I don't know if I'm going to put together the whole set, but it is a set that I'm starting to pick up individual cards of. The last thing I'll show you is kind of funny. I don't know how you feel about our buddy Corny, Jim Cornette.
From like a wrestling perspective, I think he's like one of the greatest things ever.
Sure.
From a political standpoint, I don't agree with him, but I don't care. The thing I don't like about him is like he just wastes so much time ranting on things that I'm just like, yeah, you disagree, okay, big deal. Let's move on. Let's spend our time on something more positive. But overall, I love Jim Cornette. So
he certainly does go into the rants.
Yeah,
but I think he's like an essential part of it. Like, look, I was watching the Daniel Bryan Hangman match the other day. There were 2 Cornette-related signs in the background. I mean, the guy is a presence in wrestling and important. And of course, his rookie card is not even a rookie card. Jin Cornette with a.
it's his arm. Yeah.
It's his arm and racket, which is so, in some weird way, it's fitting. That's Jim Cornette's rookie card. And by the way, he also recently did a huge auction via Heritage of his personal. Did you see how that played out? I'm sure he got some big numbers.
I saw it go up, and I saw him talking about it, but I don't know how it ended. I know he
Yeah.
went through SGC for everything. So I don't remember. I think it went through Heritage, but
It was definitely Heritage.
okay, and I know it was the complete set of 82, 83 All Stars, and I know it was SGC, and the grades
Yeah, and
were
he
all
was
like mid grades.
yeah, they did individual, like he said, like if you can't afford this fighter, you got this guy. And
Yeah.
but it was in the I highly recommend the episode of his podcast where he talks about how they got the cards, how the cards were distributed and manufactured, how Vince McMahon was supposed to get like a whole warehouse full, and he said he didn't want them.
Um, oh, I didn't.
So
I
there's
listened to
interesting
the.
stories.
You know
He was
how
just not.
you know how he puts they put the experience they put clips on YouTube of. I watched
Yeah,
the clip where he was talking about them going to auction, but I didn't listen to the whole episode where he was talking
yeah,
about that. So
I'd recommend the whole episode, if not just for the information about when that set came out, how it was distributed, and some really interesting stories. So Jim Cornette sells comic books a lot
mhm.
when he goes to conventions and does signings. And a friend of mine wanted to get me a comic book, and he's Jim Cornette. He kept everything in fantastic condition. He's all about organizing and cataloging. The guy's
Sure.
like a walking archive, right? And so, not surprisingly, so she sources a Daredevil, an early Silver Age Daredevil, issue 38. This thing is in amazing condition. And then as she's purchasing it from him at a very reasonable price, because he's got tons of comics he wants to move, she asks him to sign it. So, and apparently his reaction was like, that's sacrilegious. Like, I have nothing to do. Nonetheless, she convinced him, and I have a Daredevil 38
Oh
signed by
man,
Jim Cornette.
that is awesome.
And I've thought about, maybe sending in that story to that guy Brian Last that runs the podcast,
Yeah.
because it's so ridiculous, but like, I mean, I don't know, look, I am a Jim Cornette fan. This is my one big prime piece of memorabilia.
Well,
So,
let me ask you. I mean, if you intend like if that comic book you really wanted, then who cares? Like it's something you're
at the
never
end of
going
the
to see
day,
again.
at the end of the day, it's not going anywhere, but it's such an intersection as
Yeah.
a comic aficionado, a wrestling aficionado. It's like it doesn't seem right. Like the initial reaction when I saw it was like, this is an abomination, and you don't know where to put it. But ultimately, it now resides with my box full of like PC comics, and yeah, it's interesting. And in a way, like, look, it is the Jim Cornette collection, right? So,
It's true. I mean,
but
and
I bet,
that's similar to like, see, at least you could do that. Like the All Stars cards that I went over, and I inadvertently got that whole collection from Matt Cardona. And so the story
oh,
that I
right.
can tell of how, I got them from Matt Cardona, but then they went off to Hogan, and they went off to Flair, and they went off to Rick Martell, like all these people that I'm trying to get to sign these cards. Like, it's all about the stories you can tell, and I think your story
Oh
just
yeah.
blew mine out of the water.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like all that. And I don't know if you saw, like, PSA's now slabbing pedigreed collections, like from the
Yeah.
Steve Aoki collection. And
Hmm.
there's varying opinions on that. But in the world of like comic books, for example, that's a very old concept.
Yeah.
There are entire collections that when they're slabbed out by CGC give you the on the label, they let you know where it comes from, what the pedigree is. I actually think that's kind of cool from a collecting standpoint.
Are you
So
do you grade a lot of comics and cards, or what's your opinion on the grading then for
I,
just
I
yourself?
I'm pretty deeply involved in the grading of cards. Comics have always been like my just like a personal collecting thing. So there's not, given that cards is also somewhat of a business for me, it makes sense to look at value enhancement and that sort of thing. But with the comics, I never thought of it that way, and I want to be able to read my comics.
Hmm.
But there is that element now. I've purchased slabbed comics. I do have a bunch of comics I'd like to send out because they're worthy of it.
Sure.
It's
Well,
obviously
that
much
one
more
you
to be
just showed off
processed.
definitely is to me.
Yeah, well, it would be interesting to see. See, here's the thing. So that this Cornette comic book, the thing that would be interesting is how they would approach it, because technically speaking, this ink is damage to the
Yeah.
comic,
Yeah.
right? And so that's a whole headache. But But the other thing is like comic books just in general, packing them up, dealing with that as far as grading goes is much more difficult than cards. But I like the concept. I get the concept. I get the concept on both ends, by the way. Like if you have a PC, like my PC is mostly slabbed for cards because they're protected. At that point, you're not that concerned about grade. They're just protected. They're more displayable.
Sure.
And then in the realm of value, man, you can't argue it. You know, there are, you know, you see how, you know, compare a Hogan, the number one Hogan at 85 tops, OPC, whatever it is, you know, raw value versus once you start getting into the higher grades.
Yep.
It's a big deal. And again, don't forget, grading started because of the fact that we hit the internet and we needed an outside party to give us an unbiased account of what the card's shape is, because otherwise it's just the Wild West, right? So, I mean, you know, it's great. It's become a whole thing now. It's become very complicated and a sensitive spot. I just recorded a whole podcast talking about some controversies in the realm of grading, but for the most part, I think it's got so many uses for people that are in the card business or people that are just collecting cards. And if you're sitting on like a card of any card that is from a set that's a tough grade, and you're looking at it and you're like, this is really exceptional. Well, it's one thing to say it's exceptional. Get it graded, get it slabbed, and boom. Now
I've been arguing that even if you have something that's like some of those all-star cards, or there's certain cards that even if it's going to get like a 5 or lower, it's still worth grading.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't own a ton of the all-star cards. The ones that I do, there's some that I was like picking out specifically: Bruiser Brody, Billy Robinson, and they're with PSA right now. They've been with PSA for a while.
Oh yeah, of course.
They'll come to me eventually, but yeah, especially the all-star set, because they really are hard to come by in general. And then, you know, if you feel the centering is there and the corners are nice, you gotta get that slabbed, because that's something you want to show off and that you want to be exceptional.
Correct.
Versus the other ones, you know.
So I got one more question for you, which could be a lengthy question, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. But you're in the sports card business. You PC stuff. I've got an eBay store that I work on nonstop. Maybe not the business like you do. I don't know. I consider it a business, but I also PC stuff, whether it's the All-Star set, carrying cross, and different things. So one thing that I'm seeing within the wrestling card space that I think people struggle with is, and I've talked about this before, leveling up, selling stuff to get stuff. How do you operate with your PC and selling and all that? Like, how are you able to be fulfilled with a collection? So, hey, I'm a collector, I have what I want, but yet I'm still able to sell and either, you know, complement that to pay for it or make a living off of it. I think specifically in wrestling cards, a lot of people don't understand how to do that. I'm trying to get more people to talk about it, so I'll just give you the floor.
The more specific you are in your planning, the better. Especially when, like you said, there's all these different avenues, right? So it is always important. You know who I love on YouTube? That guy who I'm gonna get it wrong, but he calls himself sports card dealer, sports card collector, dealer, investor.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, he's pointing that he's being specific about what he does for a reason, because I will always first and foremost be a collector, and you're going to lose this huge like part of your soul in all of this if you're not tending to the PC.
Sure.
And like, I'll give you a real world example for me this past year, which I wanted to be more business focused, right? Like, I'm pretty happy with most of my sports PCs, but what started happening, as you know, the past couple years, it wasn't just wrestling that all of a sudden ignited as a different market, but everything did.
Yep.
You know, our mutual friend Yamwax is at the forefront of this, talking about rookie cards of celebrities, musicians, etc. I saw the markets start blowing up left and right, and I was in a bit of a panic because there were some cards I had my eye on that the years went on, and I was like, it shouldn't be a problem getting one of these, and then all of a sudden it becomes a problem. So for me, the Monty company also made slightly larger music cards, and one of them was a set called Punk. It was a punk rock set from 1978, and it contains the first cards of Kiss,
Cool.
the music Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows the Donruss sets.
Yes, that's
But
what I'm familiar with.
5 or 6, yeah, and they're very famous. But their rookie cards were in that Monty set. There was about 5 or 6 cards, and I was like, man, I got to jump on these now because everything is exploding. And someone happened to slab a couple, and they put them up, and they were the highest graded examples of the Gene Simmons with his tongue out, and the Gene Simmons, she's just playing the bass. So, in my month of eBay selling, what I'm usually doing is I'm putting aside money that is basically money from the business, like profit, money that needs to go back into inventory because you want to have a rolling inventory. And so I had another category, which was money going into essentially, like, one of the words I use, this is a terrible word to use for it, but it's kind of like it's dead money. Because I know it's going into my PC. It's not going to be coming or going. It's just whatever that's going to cost me, that cost is just there because I'm not moving my Gene Simmons rookie card. So, yeah, I created another kind of separate category. And what that did was it bolstered me to get rid of more extra stuff. You know what I mean? And just be more on top of that. You know, not being lazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow Lameme James and the meme where there's a little puppy after 3 listings is sleeping, which happens to us sometimes. I just like drink the coffee, get the extra energy, grab the box in the back that is full of stuff that I haven't looked at in a while. I need to get that extra income to get that.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. I've said this before, have you found that selling constantly becomes a hobby within the hobby? It does for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you stop, you kind of feel weird, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There's a hole if you're not doing it. There's a tremendous satisfaction. And that's the cool thing about the hobby, especially for young kids kind of learn about business this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tremendous satisfaction. They come running to their parents and they're like, I bought this card for $5. I sold it for 10. That's a big deal early on, you know? And there's a tremendous sense of satisfaction. But the point of your question is really important, which is that, like, you have to tend to the garden that is your PC, or if it just becomes a business, that's horrible.
Yep.
Because then it's going to be a little soulless. You're going to feel weird about it. So you always have to tend to the PC for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's a happy balance that people can find where it actually benefits everything. They're able to generate money for the PC, generate money for inventory, like you said, generate money to take out for, you know, if you're really making a lot of money doing it, you know, a car, or a house, or just random stuff you need money for. If the more activity you do with buying, selling, trading, the more it's going to open up avenues for you with all of those other things that you said.
Absolutely. And if you find something for the PC that you weren't, like if I didn't have that plan in mind, but something comes along for the PC that's the right price, don't think twice about it.
Yep. I've learned that's what I did with this carrying cross blank back. Like I was like, I'm probably never going to see this again, so I just got lucky and got it.
So then from there, work backwards instead of pre-planning. Just like, okay, I did this. Now let's make it up with this.
Right.
So, absolutely.
Anything else you got before we get out of here? Let people know if you got anything cool going on or anything else.
Not too much. We've got the latest episode of Cardboard Coaches is going to hit on maybe even tomorrow, but probably Monday. It's a podcast I do with Coach Co Collectibles. We tend to gravitate a little bit towards the controversy. Some of the stuff that you see on card porn, we get pretty passionate, but we are also both collectors, so that's kind of where the source of the passion comes from. Other than that, I'm just going to be watching some UFC tonight.
Nice.
That's about it.
Yeah, I watched last week's. I used to be just like a religious follower, and then it's kind of like wrestling to me. It's got to the point where there's so many fights going on that it's like it doesn't have that build up and this, like, you know, the hype to it like some of last week's did. But this week I looked at the card and I was like, well, I like some of these fighters, but it's not got the lure that it used to for me.
The main event is going to be explosive tonight.
Yeah.
Quick question for you. So like you said, there's so many options in wrestling right now. I'm getting crazy psyched about Wrestle Kingdom like I do every year in New Japan. What are you watching? What are you following the most?
GCW.
What is it?
GCW, Game Changer Wrestling.
GCW. Okay.
Yeah, they sold out the Hammerstein Ballroom for a show in January.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's basically the modern day ECW, like it was in the '90s. Like they're the biggest independent company in my opinion.
And they have a bit of an association, same way as New Japan. They have a bit of an association going on with AEW. Is that right?
That's the thing. Like we're getting into this territory. No pun intended. We're getting into the territory where it's almost like the '80s territories again, where everybody but WWE has the capability of working with each other. Whether it's New Japan with AEW, or AEW with GCW, or AEW with Impact, or Impact and GCW. Yeah, you just never know who's going to show up where anymore, except for WWE, and they're kind of like the odd guy out. So that's really I try to keep up with everything, but it's gotten to where it's just like MMA, or boxing. Like I try to keep up with it, but it's keeping up with it through clips and stuff like that. I don't have the time, especially with all the selling that I do, to just sit and dedicate hours and hours to watch all of it. So social media has been a good thing for that.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have watched you guys on YouTube. As soon as you said the show, I was like, oh yeah, I watched those guys, and I'm just like, how did I not know your name? It's like you said, we get associated with these social media names. Like Sports Card Cartel, I know this guy, and then, wait a minute.
You know what? 99% of people don't actually know my name. They call me the Cartel. That's totally fine. We've even touched on that with guests on the show, where it's like that's just what it becomes. You know, I finally know Yamwax's name, but yeah. I want to keep calling him Yamwax.
Yeah, same. Like I know his name too, but I still call him Yamwax. So that's the world we live in now. Thanks for all the content you put out, and thanks for coming on. Thanks you guys, everybody, for watching. This will be the last time I go live until Christmas. So everybody have an awesome Merry Christmas. Keep collecting and having fun. We'll see you guys.